On March 22nd and 23rd, London Futurists and Humanity Plus are jointly holding a conference in London called Anticipating 2025. The conference will be held in Birkbeck College in central London. There will be 18 presentations at the conference, spread over 2 days. Shortly, I'll briefly describe each of the speakers and the topics they'll be speaking about. But first, I'll give a quick preview of the overall content of the conference. As we look ahead to 2025, we can see many rich technological possibilities. Here are a few examples. The field of computing may be transformed between now and 2025 due to the increase of power of quantum computers. Quantum computers have their own rate of change law, known as Rose's law, with a more dramatic change exponent than the Moore's law, which applies to traditional semiconductors. We're also likely to see lots more people wearing Google Glass or other augmented reality helmets or visors. People will increasingly be appearing remotely in each other's visual fields as virtual avatars. Greater numbers of cameras and sensors will enable ubiquitous surveillance. Coupled with ever smarter algorithms that crunch insight out of big data, the implications include the end of privacy and secrecy. Improvements in brain scanning methods, such as magnetic resonance imaging, mean we'll have a much better understanding of what happens inside our brains. We'll gain unprecedented insight into the workings of mind, creativity, and consciousness, and we should be able to enhance all these key areas of human life as a result. As some important examples, our improved knowledge of the brain may allow the development of safe drugs or other methods to stimulate the brain that will make us all smarter, kinder, more empathetic, and more sociable. In a different technology area, we can anticipate wider use of alternative, decentralized currencies, of which Bitcoin is currently the best known example. The effect on commerce may be highly significant. By 2025, we may also witness some large-scale geoengineering projects, such as projects to extract huge amounts of CO2 from the atmosphere. We may also see much more widespread adoption of solar energy and a major reduction in our dependency on using oil. This will be enabled by improvements in energy capture, energy storage, and energy distribution, using nanotechnology amongst other innovations. We can expect wider use of new nanomaterials with greatly enhanced strength and resilience, materials that will replace the ones currently used for manufacturing, building, and clothing. Some of these materials will have self-healing properties, borrowing methods from living organisms. The growth of 3D printing and 3D fabrication, including atomically precise manufacturing, should allow the creation of all kinds of useful tools and new compounds. One use of these techniques is in the creation of synthetic body parts, such as replacement organs, and in stem cell therapies. These are examples of what is called rejuvenation biotechnology, technology for the repair and removal of biological damage throughout our bodies and brains, restoring youthful vigor and vitality. Another use of synthetic biology may be in the widespread creation of artificial meat, with the side effect of significantly reducing suffering among farm animals. By 2025, we can also expect the use of driverless, autonomous cars in many transport systems. This will result in greater safety and also in greener transport systems because cars will no longer need to be made so heavy and so strong in order to withstand accidents. Autonomous systems will also show up more generally in the widespread use of robots of all shapes and sizes, including robots that assist or even replace nurses, soldiers, and members of many other professions. This is likely to result in widespread so-called technological unemployment. When these systems have greater artificial general intelligence, such as in successors to the IBM Watson supercomputer, they will have the potential to perform medical diagnosis more quickly and more reliably than human doctors, and to give better advice on lifestyle changes or drugs that should be taken to improve health. Another variant of supercomputers could be increasingly used in decisions about allocating scarce resources among different projects and among different groups of people. In this way, the task of politicians, economic planners, and civil servants could be drastically changed. As people become more aware of the power of near-future technology, they may increasingly decide to sign up for cryonics, low-temperature suspension, when they reach the point of their impending biological death, with the hope that they can be reanimated when technology has advanced further and can cure whatever disease is on the point of killing them. This mass adoption of cryonics could have wide social implications. Finally, on this list of examples of technological possibilities, we can envision people wanting to spend greater amounts of their time in the company of artificial intelligence and robots, preferring their companionship and advice to those of humans. Again, there are wide social implications. As we look ahead to 2025, we therefore see many rich technological possibilities, but we also see profound uncertainty. There's uncertainty as to the timing and extent of various technological breakthroughs. There's uncertainty as to the unexpected side effects of these breakthroughs. For good reason, people are nervous about the law of unintended consequences. There's also uncertainty as to how the human population as a whole will react, whether people will embrace these changes or fight them. The impacts on human psychology and human society are hard to foresee. But one thing is likely: the rate of change will increase, and so will the rate of convergence in interaction between different kinds of technology and different areas of human work, play, health, and vitality. We're also very likely to see escalating stresses and strains as people realize they can no longer depend on systems from earlier times, systems such as pension schemes, reliance on oil reserves, economic stability and a social contract, or rather tribalist politics and tribalist nationalism, and medieval philosophies and thinking systems. As former certainties and securities vanish, there's a greater need for clear thinking. In fact, the biggest single problem with present-day human life may well be the poor caliber of general thinking about the future. Influential figures in politics, the media, academia, and religious movements all too often seem to have a very blinkered view about future possibilities. At the anticipating 2025 conference, speakers will seek to provide clearer thinking about the scenarios that lie between the present day and 2025. Speakers will be exploring both the potential upsides and the potential downsides of these scenarios. Collectively, the speakers will be addressing three questions: which scenarios are technically feasible as opposed to wishful thinking or Hollywood fantasy? Which scenarios are genuinely desirable as opposed to leading to some kind of dystopia? And how can we enable and accelerate the desirable scenarios? Speakers will be sharing their thoughts about paths to 2025, visions of both good outcomes and nightmare scenarios. They'll discuss roadblocks in the way to the desirable outcomes and outline plans for dealing with these roadblocks. As well as the technological possibilities, speakers will collectively cover some transformations in thinking and lifestyle that we can anticipate between now and 2025. This includes changes in health and spirituality, in organizations and politics, and in the wider adoption of the philosophy of transhumanism, which asserts that it is desirable to take advantage of technology to profoundly enhance human capabilities and experience. Anticipating 2025 will feature 18 presentations spread out over 2 days, 9 per day. Each speaker is allocated 18 minutes, the same length as a TED Talk, plus a 10 to 12 minute period for questions from the floor. There will also be plenty of time for informal networking and discussion, both offline and online. What you're seeing here is the current plan for the order of the speakers, but as any futurist knows, plans are subject to change. As chair of London Futurists, I, David Wood, will kick off the event. I'll give some examples of past forecasts of the future, some good, some bad, and some ugly. I'll look at some examples from the technology sector I personally know best, smartphones, but also offer some wider examples. My goal is to clarify the broader factors that influence when technology lives up to its potential, and also when it falls short. We need to be aware of these roadblocks. Sonia Contera is a tenured university lecturer at Oxford Physics Department and co-director of the Oxford Martin Programme on Nanotechnology. She is also co-investigator at the Centre for Advanced Materials at Harwell Research Centre. She will speak on the theme of nanotechnology in 2025. The talk will be looking at the potential impacts of nanotechnology on matters such as health and biology. Simon Bransfield-Garth has 25 years of global experience building rapid growth, technology-based businesses in sectors including semiconductor, automotive and mobile phones. He is CEO of Azuri Technologies, a product and service company that delivers affordable solar power in emerging market. His presentation, Empowering Africa, will explore how the mobile infrastructure is transforming the landscape for energy, education and health in rural Africa. In this way, smart technology can bring the benefits of mobile power at scale to some of the poorest people in the world without the cost of grid electricity. It can also help a generation to skip the Industrial Revolution and directly join the knowledge economy. Mark Stevenson is a futurologist and author. His first book, An Optimist Tour of the Future, was described by the Wall Street Journal as sharp and fascinating, by Cory Doctorow as a hilarious and inspiring romp through some of the most promising directions in technology, and by the Scotsman newspaper as a rollicking roller coaster ride around the cutting edge of science with dozens of laugh-out-loud moments. Mark's forthcoming new book is provisionally entitled The Shift: Why Our Systems Are Failing Us and What Will Replace Them. David Levy is an international chess master and president of the International Computer Games Association. In 1968, David started a bet with 4 artificial intelligence professors that he would not lose a chess match against a computer program within 10 years. He won that bet. He subsequently led the team that won the worldwide Loebner Prize for Artificial Intelligence in 1997 and again in 2009. David's talk will cover some themes from his 50th book, Love and Sex with Robots. It will look at the potential evolution of human-robot interactions. After a break for networking and lunch, the next speaker will be Riva Melissa Tez. Riva is the co-founder of Kardashev Communications and the founder of Berlin Singularity, a group focusing on bringing and promoting pro-longevity and futurist discussions to mainland Europe. Riva will talk on this subject, the 3 obstacles that prevent emerging technologies from fulfilling their potential. She will offer recommendations for dealing with these obstacles. Paul Barnett, the founder and acting CEO of the Strategic Management Forum, will speak about rethinking strategy, how organizations can thrive during rapid change ahead. This will include a discussion of congruent strategy, which views organizations as part of a much larger and more important system: commercial, social, technological, and natural. Andrew Vladimirov is an information security expert and a self-described DIY brain hacker. He experiments on himself, friends and colleagues with nootropics, that is, smart drugs, CES, TMS, and transcranial cold laser stimulation. His talk will be on the near future of accessible cognition enhancement and modification. Rounding off the presentations on the first day is Aubrey de Grey, Chief Science Officer and co-founder of the SENSE Research Foundation, which is a California-based charity dedicated to combating the aging process. SENSE breaks down aging into 7 major classes of damage and identifies detailed approaches to addressing each of these classes. Aubrey's talk is entitled, When the Days of Aging Are Clearly Numbered, How will humanity react? The talk will cover how, by 2025, it's highly likely that results in mice will have convinced the expert community, and thus everyone else, that it's only a matter of time before we defeat aging in humans, but we'll still have some way to go to actually doing that. The talk will also cover how we can expect dramatic investment in both research and infrastructure to make that last leg of the race happen as soon as possible. The second day of the conference starts with a joint presentation by Marco Viga and Peter Breitbart, two directors of the recently formed British Institute of Post-Human Studies, BEOPS. BEOPS aims to widely promote ethical thinking about the future and to bring the transhumanist discussion about upcoming technologies into mainstream thought. BEOPS released its first contribution to the field in November, a fully animated introductory video about transhumanism. With attractive graphics and a thought-provoking script, this short documentary offers an informative yet accessible overview of what BEOPS describes as one of the most exciting and potentially dangerous areas of human thought. Marco and Peter will speak at Anticipating 2025 on the subject Transhumanism and Inequality, and will discuss potential pitfalls of technology distribution across societies. Manish Juneja is a digital health futurist and is chapter leader for Health 2.0 London. He has worked with big data for almost 20 years. His topic is healthcare in the future, and he will be asking if algorithms, robotic surgery, 3D bioprinting, and the Internet of Things will make doctors unemployed. Eamon Culkin is the founder of Zero State. Zero State was conceived as a socially aware and action-oriented futurist community with an emphasis upon mutual support and equal respect for the sciences and arts. Eamon is a self-described transhumanist who believes that both individuals and societies can be improved through the compassionate and intelligent use of technology. His talk is entitled The Wave of Change: Convergent Technologies and Disruptive Trends in 2025. Callum Chase is a businessman, novelist and blogger. He believes that the first conscious machine may be created before this century is halfway through. The consequences of this are likely to be astonishing. He points to a quotation from Andrew Marr in a BBC One TV programme last year, describing this forthcoming creation as the greatest achievement of humanity since the invention of agriculture, and it will challenge the very idea of what it is to be human. Callum is the author of the forthcoming scientific thriller Pandora's Brain, which looks at the issues raised by the coming machine intelligence explosion. His talk is entitled Minds and AIs, 6 Important Questions, and it makes the case for an urgent and massive Apollo project to enable brain preservation. David Pearce is the co-founder of the World Transhumanist Association, which was subsequently renamed as Humanity Plus. In 1995, David wrote an online manifesto advocating the use of biotechnology to abolish suffering throughout the living world. David will talk on the molecular biology of spiritual experience. Advances in neuroscanning may shortly allow us to identify, refine, and richly overexpress the molecular signatures of spiritual experience in the central nervous system. This talk puts these advances in context and asks, what will be the post-human successor to today's ordinary waking consciousness? After a break for networking and lunch, the next speaker will be Rohit Talwar, a global futurist and the founder of Fast Future Research. Rohit focuses on helping global corporations, governments, and NGOs anticipate and respond to the ideas, forces, and trends shaping the future. Rohit's talk is entitled Driving Forces, Global Challenges, and Potential Disruptions. It will outline a set of megatrends that could drive scenarios for how our world could look by 2025. It will examine the potential impact of factors such as economic and political uncertainty, jobless growth, cyber currencies, the shadow economy, inequality, and emerging areas of science and technology. Ben McLeish is a leading figure in the Zeitgeist movement worldwide. Founded in 2008, the Zeitgeist movement is a sustainability advocacy organisation which conducts community-based activism and awareness actions. The defining goal of the Zeitgeist movement is the installation of a new socio-economic model based upon technically responsible resource management through what would be considered the scientific method of reasoning about problems and finding optimized solutions. Ben will talk about updating technical values and hacking culture lag. He will look at taking a direct technical approach to social management issues as opposed to a monetary or even a political one. Natasha Vitamore is the chair of the Humanity Plus organisation. In 1983, Natasha authored the Transhuman Manifesto. In the early 1990s, she produced and hosted the transhumanist TV show Trans-Century Update. She is founder of H Plus Lab and the host and producer of H Plus TV. She is a professor at the University of Advancing Technology and a fellow at the Institute for Ethics and Emerging Technologies. She was formerly president of Extropy Institute from 2002 to 2005. Her talk at Anticipating 2025 is Transhumanism, Designing Transcendent Human Enhancement. The final speaker, Anders Sandberg, is a James Martin Research Fellow at the Future of Humanity Institute at Oxford University. As a part of the Oxford Martin School, Anders is involved in interdisciplinary research on cognitive enhancement, neurotechnology, global catastrophic risks, emerging technologies, and applied rationality. Anders has been writing about and debating transhumanism, future studies, neuroethics, and related questions since the 1990s. At Anticipating 2025, he will talk about the possibility of smarter policy making through improved collective cognition. This talk draws on Anders' research into risk modelling and collective cognition. It asks the question, will politics in 2025 be run by data, simulations, or Twitter? At the end of each day, audience members will have the chance to ask questions to a panel consisting of speakers from the day. It will be a chance for everyone to weigh in and challenge the most interesting and thought-provoking ideas from the day. We'll also be continuing the discussions online afterwards. Registration is now open for Anticipating 2025 via the website anticipating2025.com. Discounted early bird registration rates are still available, just £40 to attend both days. From January the 7th, the ticket prices rise to £50. I look forward to meeting you at the conference.